The thing about Iris was this: she never asked questions. Not the ones that mattered anyway. She didn't ask where I came from, didn't ask why I was alone, didn't ask about the scars on my hands or the way I flinched at sudden sounds or why I never stayed anywhere long. She just let me be. And that should have made things easier, but it didn't. It made them more dangerous, because when someone doesn't demand your story, you start wanting to give it to them. After that day in the bait shop, after the broken tank and the sandwich, things shifted. Not dramatically, not obviously, but we started existing in the same space more often. I'd stop by the shop in the mornings for coffee. She'd wave me in without looking up from whatever she was doing, inventory, paperwork, untangling fishing line. I'd sit on a stool by the counter. We'd drink our coffee in comfortable silence. Sometimes we'd talk, small things, weather, the boats coming in, a book she was reading, nothing personal, nothing that required me to explain myself. And that was new. With Marin, there had been curiosity. She'd wanted to know me, wanted to understand the parts of me that didn't make sense. She'd asked questions, gently, carefully, but she'd asked, and I'd loved her for it. But I'd also felt the weight of it, the pressure to be known, to be understood, to let someone in completely. Iris didn't do that. She didn't seem to need to know me to accept me. She just did. One morning, about a month after we'd started this routine, I came in, and she had 2 breakfast burritos on the counter. "Hungry?" she asked. I was always hungry. "Yeah," I said. She slid one across to me. We ate standing up, leaning against opposite counters. "You ever think about staying somewhere?" she asked. Not accusatory, just curious. I swallowed. "No," I said. "Not really." "Why not?" I could have deflected, changed the subject, but something about the way she asked, casual, like it didn't matter what the answer was, made me want to be honest. "Because I'm better at leaving," I said. Iris nodded thoughtfully. "Yeah," she said. "Me too." She didn't elaborate, didn't explain, and I didn't ask. That was the unspoken agreement between us. You don't ask me, I don't ask you. But somehow, we still told each other things, just not directly. One afternoon I was repairing a boat trailer when Iris came out of the shop, carrying 2 folding chairs. "Break time," she announced. She set them up on the dock, facing the water, sat down in one, gestured to the other. I looked at her. "I'm working," I said. "You've been working for 6 hours straight," she said. "Sit." It wasn't a request, but it wasn't a command either, just an offer. I sat. We watched the water. The sky was gray, typical for this place, but the water was calm, reflecting the clouds like a mirror. "You know what I like about this town?" Iris said. "What?" "No one cares who you used to be." I looked at her. She was still staring at the water, arms folded across her chest. "That's what you like about it?" I asked. "Yeah," she said. "People don't ask questions here. They just let you exist." I understood that, more than she probably knew. "What about you?" she asked. "What do you like about it?" I thought about it. "It's quiet," I said. "That's it? That's enough." Iris smiled, small, like she was agreeing with something I hadn't said out loud. "Yeah," she said, "it is." We sat there for a while longer, not talking, just being. And that became our thing. Every few days, Iris would drag out the folding chairs and we'd sit by the water. Sometimes we'd talk. Sometimes we wouldn't. It didn't matter. The point wasn't conversation. The point was presence. And I started to realize something terrifying. I was comfortable. I hadn't been comfortable in years, not since Marin. And even with Marin, there had been an edge, a tension, the constant awareness that I was dangerous, that I had to be careful, that one wrong move could destroy everything. But with Iris, it felt different. Not because I wasn't dangerous. I was still dangerous. The curse was still there, waiting, but Iris didn't treat me like I was fragile. She didn't tiptoe around me. She didn't try to fix me or save me or understand me. She just existed alongside me. And that was more seductive than any declaration of love could have been. One night, about 2 months after I'd arrived, I was walking back to my room when I saw Iris sitting on the dock alone. It was late, past midnight. The marina was quiet except for the sound of water lapping against the boats. I should have kept walking, but I didn't. I walked down to the dock and sat beside her. She didn't seem surprised to see me. "Can't sleep?" I asked. "Not tonight," she said. "Why not?" She shrugged. "Sometimes my brain just won't stop." I knew that feeling. "What's it stuck on?" I asked. Iris was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "Do you ever feel like you're waiting for something bad to happen?" My chest tightened. "Yeah," I said, "every day." She looked at me then. Really looked at me. "Why?" she asked. I could have lied, could have said something vague. But sitting there in the dark, with the water moving beneath us and no one else around, I told her the truth, or at least part of it. "Because bad things usually do," I said, "in my experience." Iris nodded slowly. "Yeah," she said, "mine too." She didn't ask what bad things, didn't press for details. She just acknowledged it. And then she said something that changed everything. "You know what I've learned?" "What?" "Waiting for the bad thing is worse than the bad thing itself." I looked at her. "What do you mean?" "I mean," she said, "we spend so much time bracing for impact that we forget to live in the moments that don't hurt." She turned back to the water. "And then one day, the bad thing happens anyway. And all that time we spent being afraid, it didn't protect us at all." Her words hit me like a punch, because she was right. I'd been living in a state of perpetual defense for years, always ready to run, always waiting for a moment when I'd ruin everything. And it hadn't made me safer, it had just made me alone. "So, what do you do instead?" I asked quietly. Iris smiled, sad and small. "I don't know yet," she said. "I'm still figuring it out." We sat there until the sky started to lighten, and when we finally stood to leave, Iris said, "Thanks for sitting with me." "Any time," I said, and I meant it. That was the moment I knew I was in real trouble, because I wasn't just comfortable anymore. I was attached. I started noticing things I shouldn't notice. The way Iris hummed while she worked. The way she always had paint under her fingernails. She'd mentioned once that she painted in her spare time, but she'd never shown me anything. The way she'd laugh at something I said and then look surprised, like she hadn't expected to find me funny. The way she never asked me to stay. That was the part that got me. With Marin, there had been an implicit question underneath everything. "Will you stay?" And I'd loved her for asking, but I'd also felt the weight of disappointing her every time the answer was no. Iris never asked. When I showed up, she was glad. When I didn't, she didn't mention it. There was no expectation, no pressure, no silent countdown to the moment when I'd have to choose. And somehow, That made me want to stay more than any plea ever could. One Saturday, Iris asked if I wanted to help her with something. Help with what? I asked. My truck won't start, she said. I think it's the battery. I followed her to the parking lot. Her truck was old, older than mine, with dents in the door and a cracked windshield. I popped the hood. When's the last time you replaced the battery? I asked. I don't know, she said. I bought the truck like this. I checked the connections. They were corroded. It's not the battery, I said. It's the terminals. I can clean them. You don't have to. I know, I said. I cleaned the terminals. The truck started. Iris looked relieved. Thank you, she said. It's nothing. It's not nothing, she said. You didn't have to do that. I looked at her. You've been giving me coffee for 3 months, I said. This is the least I can do. Iris smiled. We're keeping score now? Apparently. She laughed. That surprised, quiet laugh that I'd started listening for. Well, she said, in that case I owe you lunch. You don't. I know I don't, she said. But I'm offering anyway. We went to a diner down the road, sat in a booth by the window, ordered sandwiches and fries. It wasn't a date. At least I didn't think it was, but it felt significant, like we were crossing some invisible line. Can I ask you something? Iris said. I tensed. Sure. Why do you always look like you're about to run? I blinked. What? You do, she said. Even when you're sitting still, you look like you're one loud noise away from bolting. I didn't know what to say to that, because she was right. I guess I'm just used to leaving, I said. Why? The question hung in the air. I could have deflected, but I was tired of deflecting. Because it's easier than staying, I said. Iris nodded slowly. Easier for who? For everyone. You sure about that? I looked at her. What do you mean? I mean, she said carefully, it sounds like you decided a long time ago that you're not worth staying for, and now you're just proving yourself right over and over again. Her words landed like stones. I'm not saying it's wrong, she said quickly. I'm just saying maybe it's not the whole truth either. I didn't know how to respond to that, so I just sat there, staring at my plate. Iris reached across the table, not to take my hand, just to touch the edge of it. A small contact, a reminder that she was there. I'm not asking you to stay, Elias, she said quietly. It was the first time she'd said my name. I'm just saying you can, if you want to. And there it was, the most dangerous sentence in the world. You can stay if you want to. Not a demand, not a plea, just permission. And somehow, that was harder to resist than anything else. Because when someone begs you to stay, you can tell yourself you're protecting them by leaving. But when someone gives you the freedom to choose, you have to face the truth. Maybe you're not leaving to protect them. Maybe you're leaving to protect yourself. I looked at Iris, at this woman who had somehow slipped past every defense I'd built, and I realized something that terrified me. I didn't want to leave. Not this time. Not yet. And that was the most dangerous thing of all, because wanting to stay and being able to stay, those are two very different things. The curse was still there. The full moon was still coming. And no matter how much I wanted this to work, some things don't change just because you love them. But I didn't tell her that. Not yet. Instead, I said, okay. Iris smiled. Okay? Okay, I said. I'll stay for a little while. It was the biggest lie I'd ever told, because I already knew the truth. A little while would never be enough. Next time, I'll tell you about the night she almost found out what I was, and the choice I made that changed everything. Because love without demand is more dangerous than love with conditions. At least with conditions. You know when you're failing. Stay with me, because this story gets harder before it gets better. And I need you to understand. Sometimes the cruelest thing you can do to someone is give them exactly what they asked for.